Hey there, corporals. So you want to move up to the rank of sergeant, eh? You're going to have to work through level 4 to get there. Level 4 is all about solving multi-step equations by combining like terms. Hey, that's something that sounds familiar, doesn't it? Combining like terms. Well, let's review that real quick. Like terms are one vocabulary for today. It's worthwhile writing down in your notes. Like terms are terms that have the same variable raised to the same power. So if we were combining like terms, oh, by the way, and you can combine like terms on the same side of an equation. We're going to get to that in a second. Let's look down here. If we want to combine like terms, how are we going to do it? Let's look at this one on the left. You may recall that like terms, since they have the same variable, 8a, and this thing with an a right here is also a like term. What do you do if you don't have a number in front of it? Of course, you put a 1 in front of it. So it's 1a. So we can combine those two, 8 and 1, that's 9a. We can also combine these other numbers that are left over, but always keep the sign in front of it with it. So we have a -6 and a -1 boxed here, and that makes combined a -7. So we have 9a plus -7, or 9a minus 7. Example number 2, same idea. Hey, look, there's a variable without a number. Let's put a 1 there, so it's -1. All right, only like terms we have are that -1x and this positive 15x. -1 and 15 gets you to 14. So we have 14x. And then we're left with this -2, or plus -2. There we go. That's a quick review of combining like terms. We're going to use that in equations this section. So let's just go back. Our goal, our learning target for today on the left, is to solve multi-step equations that involve combining like terms. So we're going to be doing it very similar to what we did with two-step equations. However, there might be an extra step of combining like terms first. So our success criteria, be able to add like terms. All right, we just reviewed that. And be able to use inverse operations in the correct order. So here's an example I want to start with. How would you go about solving this equation? It's 3x plus 4x plus 5 equals 19. We're trying to solve for x, but there's two different places where there's an x. So what do you do? Well, you combine the like terms. That's 7x plus 5 equals 19, and we're left with just a two-step equation. Now, there's a reason we can't combine the 5 and the 19, even though they are like. It's because they're not on the same side of the equal sign. So if you're not sure, you can always draw that divider where that equal sign is. The two sides, you can only combine things that are on the same side. So since the 3x and the 4x were on the same side, we can combine them. So that was our note up here. You can combine like terms right here if they're on the same side of the equation. So how do we go from there? We have 7x plus 5 equals 19. Well, we got to get rid of the 7 and the 5, and we want to get rid of the one that's farthest from the variable that's not attached first. That would be the plus 5, and our inverse of plus 5 is -5. Okay, that'll cancel it out. Those are opposites. So we have 7x left over. Now recall, we have to do that to the left side as well. Let's subtract 5 here as well. I mean, sorry, the right side. What you do to one side, you have to do to the other. Inverse operation rule there. And we're left with 14. Last step would be dividing by 7. We have multiplying by 7, so we're going to divide by 7. X is equal to 2. Do a mental check, plug it back in, and the left side will equal 19, just like the right side. So let's put in that and do some notes for you. Procedure for doing this. First step, what we did was combine like terms that are on the same side. I'm going to underline that again, the same side of the equation. If you can do that, you should always do this first. Okay? Second step, work on the side with the variable. So you find the variable, that's the side you're going to work on getting the variable by itself. Step 3, undo the term that is not attached to the variable. So we did that up there. The plus 5 was not attached to it, so that's what we got rid of first. We used the inverse operation. And then step 4, undo the term that is attached to the variable. Use the inverse operation there. And then finally check. We checked it mentally. You can check it on the paper, you can check it on a calculator. Plug it back in to see if it makes sense. Now those are the steps, so if you want to pause it and make sure you have those written down, that's great. We're going to go over two examples then together. Make sure these are in your notes as well. So example 1, example 2. Example 1 here, we've got 42 equals 8m plus 13m. It's only two things on one side, one on the other. But if you notice on the right side, we have an 8m and a plus 13m. Those are like terms. So if we can combine them, we're going to combine them because on their same side. So 8 and 13 make 21. So there's 21m over there equals 42. Heck, we don't have even anything that's not attached to the m this time. So we can skip our next step and go to the one that is attached. 21m, that is 21 times m. And the inverse of times is divide. So we're going to divide by 21 to cancel it out. Divide by 21 over here. And we're left with m is equal to 2. Alright, let's try example 2. Example 2, we're solving for x this time. 8x minus 27 minus 10 minus 6x equals 15. So there's a lot going on here. We're going to have to simplify it a little bit to make our life easier. So on the left side, so again, we're going to divide this. There's nothing on the right side to do, but on the left side, there's some things that can be combined. We've got an 8x. We've also got a minus 6x. Keep that symbol with it. So 8x minus 6x gets you 2x. Now, again, we have to keep the symbol with it, so we have a negative 27. Let's add that to a negative 10. And you get a negative or a minus 37. Left with equals 15. So that's the combining like terms step. We combine anything that was a like on the same side. And now we can finish it using the steps like a two-step equation. Let's go for anything that's not attached to the variable first, the stuff that's farthest away. And that would be this minus 37. Inverse operation would be plus 37. Plus 37 on the other side to keep our thing in balance. We have 2x left over on the left side. This is going to be a 2, carry the 1. We have 52 on the right side. And 2x plus equals 52. We're going to get rid of what's attached to the variable now, and that is going to be done by dividing to both sides. 52 divided by 2 is 26. So there we go. So that's how you solve equations that have like terms involved in them. I'm going to give you two examples I'd like you to try on your own. So example 4 and 8, solve the equation for each of those, show your work, follow the steps. And when you're done, so right now I'd like you to pause the video, and when you're done, you can unpause it and see how you did. So why don't you pause right now. Alrighty, so our first step in number 4 here was to combine the 10 and the 13, because they're on the same side of this equal sign, and they are alike. So that I end up with this negative 4x by itself, plus 23 equals 19. So that's where I went after I combined like terms. Now, to go from there, we want to get rid of the plus 23 because that's not attached to the variable. So we subtract 23 on both sides. When you do that, you're left with negative 4x equals negative 4. And finally, we have negative 4 times x, so we're going to divide by negative 4 on both sides, and we end up with our answer of x equals 1. Now at number 8, what I combined here in the circles was the negative 15k and the 9k. I got negative 6k. I combined in the boxes the negative 4 and the positive 9, and I got positive 5. So those two added together equals 65. That's where we're at after combining like terms. Now our two steps. Get rid of the plus 5 by subtracting 5 on both sides. What's left over is negative 6k on the left side and then 60 on the right. And we're going to undo that multiplication by dividing by negative 6 then. And you end up with k by itself equaling negative 10. All right. One final question for you to think about. What mistake is in the work shown below? What mistake? So this was where it started. They did something to get to here. did something to get here. Find the mistake in one of those 3 steps. And I'm going to revisit the goal. Our goal was originally to solve multi-step equations that involve combining like terms, and I think we did just that. So I hope you were able to meet that goal. Hope you feel somewhat comfortable with it and are able to practice it now on your own. All right, that's all we got for you corporals. So it is time to ship up. What is it? Ship up or shape up? Shape up or ship out. There you go. All right, be good. See you later.